Hi guys. I took someone's suggestion from the comment section and read Clive Barker's Weaveworld. So this book is big. It's 588 pages. And I will say, when it comes to a book this large, I start having time problems because I don't want to put it down too early and stop reading it. I want to give it a fair chance, so I want to at least read halfway. And then if I keep going from there, I run into the risk of, well, I don't love it so much anymore, and now I'm only 100 pages from the end, so I might as well finish it. And it was kind of that way with this book. I feel like this could have been a shorter book, and I would have liked it better. I don't know how I feel about it exactly. I don't think I've ever read a Clive Barker book before. I've watched Hellraiser. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of Hellraiser, the movie. Clive Barker is a very good writer. There were things in the book that were so relatable and natural. It was uncanny. And just the way he can turn a phrase, the way that he puts something in there and it's comforting and familiar, and it's just, he's very easy to read. He is very good at keeping your interest. So I think the problem I had with this book is that it went in directions I didn't care about, and it followed certain characters that I wasn't as invested in. I liked the main characters, Cal and Susanna. I enjoyed them throughout the whole book. The fugue, which is the world, the magical world that's protected within a carpet, that was very reminiscent of watching the Beatles' Yellow Submarine movie. So it felt like I was experiencing some kind of accounting of an acid trip. I think the problem was I would have liked more time in the fugue, but also, like I said, I would have chosen different people to highlight. So I'm glad in that Barker kind of glossed over some of the characters. The first 5 characters who come out of the fugue after being unraveled, they weren't all that interesting to me, and so I was kind of, not sure I wanted to continue. And then some of them were quickly gotten rid of, so I was kind of like, well, I'll keep up with it. The 2 villains, 3 villains, I guess. Shadwell, he was awful. He was just a perfect villain, but even some of his parts, I was like, he's getting away with too much. I want him brought to justice sooner. The best villain, because then there's also Hobart, the crazy police officer who ends up imbibing the Uriel character, and that was just a whole different ballgame once he was souped up with this angel, which also made me think of Supernatural. I wonder if they read this book when they came up with some of the Supernatural stuff. Especially because Shadwell, when he takes in Uriel, it said he's pushed up to the top of his head. Like, his being, his essence or whatever is like kind of shoved up to the top of his head as a passenger within his own body. But anyway, Hobart was way too one-dimensional. He was just so unlikable. There was nothing redeeming about him. And I guess at the end you felt a little bad for him, but only a little bit. Immaculata, I really liked her. She was so interesting. and her dead sisters that followed her around, and the offspring of one of those sisters, the Byblos. Very good. Very well done. They were creepy. They were gone too soon in this book, and I would have read a lot more about them. There was Mimi, Susanna's grandmother. I would have liked to hear a lot more about her, and she was kind of what kicked this all off, because she was protecting the tapestry carpeting, and she dies, and so then it falls to Susanna and Cal, and they're trying to protect everything. But I really would have liked to hear more about Mimi. I wish she could have been around without having to die. And I liked, because when Susanna goes into the fugue, she meets her grandfather. So Mimi left her husband to be out in the kingdom, which is just normal, the human world. And she meets her grandfather. He's a very cool guy. He has a pride of lions that he just takes around with him that are his children. So that's super cool, and I would have liked to hear a lot more about him and his stuff. He had possibly the best scene in the whole book, where he and his lions face off with Immaculata, and those lions fuck her up. She killed one of the lions, but it was an epic scene, and I really would have liked to see more. I really would have liked to see more of the dark side of the fugue. More of Immaculata, more of the underbelly of this perfect dream world. And the book, it was very, not formulaic, but it was kind of like mystery. They figure it out, they enter, they come out, more mystery, they have to figure out how to keep it safe. They go back in. It was too much. And then also the old guy that Cal meets, it did keep me guessing, because I wasn't sure if it was an older version of Cal, which is what it ended up being, or his grandfather. He talks about his grandfather, poet, a lot, and so I was thinking, oh, maybe it's some sort of his grandfather is in the fugue, and, he has this history with that. I think it needed some editing. I think there were a lot of things that could have been just condensed. Some characters who could have been gotten rid of entirely. Others I would have liked to focus more on. And then what really got me, because I swear during the last 150 pages, I was like, okay, can we just wrap this up? You're a good writer. I love reading your stuff. That is the one saving grace, because you kept me interested the whole time. And when it got to the very end, one of the best things to make me like something is to do a circular ending. So we get to the end, and it's not the end of the story, it begins again. And it just is going to be like a loop, basically. And I love that. I love that plot device. I am a sucker for it. I know a lot of people hate it. A lot of people think it's a cheat. I will forever stand by a certain famous series of Stephen King's that uses that. I love that kind of an ending. I don't want to be too harsh on this book. I would say I 85% loved the book. And then the rest was kind of me reading through it to get to better parts, if that makes sense. And I don't think I would read it again, but I did overall enjoy it. So thank you for suggesting it. If there's a different Clive Barker book that you think I would like, let me know. Have a spooky day.